Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Colorado, Mr. Crow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Kane, Secretary Hegseth, and Mrs. McDonald. You're doing a great job today, Mrs. McDonald. Secretary Hegseth, we have a lot of things in common. In fact, our careers started the same way. We were both infantry officers. We were both platoon leaders. We both deployed our platoons to combat in a counterinsurgency environment. There are very few better leadership training grounds than that experience, and it's that experience that I want to transport us back into time, back to Lieutenant Hegseth and Lieutenant Crow. There are a lot of things that make a leader and that make a unit effective. Would you say that unit cohesion is important?
Unit cohesion amongst many is very important, yes, sir.
It's an important element. And part of that is making sure that all members of your unit felt included in that team, correct?
Far more important that every member of that unit felt capable to do the mission and united in that mission.
But that they were included and felt part of the team as well.
I wouldn't use the word inclusion, sir, but yes, they were cohering as a team, yes.
And that you reduce tension and infighting and points of tension between your platoon members so that you can focus on the mission. That was a part of the regular job.
Absolutely. That's why I've said that our diversity is our strength is the single dumbest phrase in military history.
And words are
our
important.
Unity is our strength. And
words,
so unity amongst members, despite differences of backgrounds, race, whatever that is.
And I agree with you on that.
Together on a mission.
And words, part of that is
unity is the lifeline of any military unit, and without it, even the strongest force can crumble under pressure. When soldiers step onto the battlefield, they aren't just individuals carrying weapons. They are members of a team bound by trust, loyalty, and a shared mission. Imagine standing in a hostile environment where danger lurks behind every corner, and your survival depends not on your personal strength alone, but on the brother or sister next to you. In that moment, political opinions, personal differences, or cultural backgrounds become irrelevant. What truly matters is whether you can depend on the person beside you to act with the same level of commitment and courage. This is the very foundation of unit cohesion, and it cannot be replaced by anything else. The importance of unity becomes clear when you consider the consequences of division. If a soldier hesitates to trust another because of their political beliefs, religion, or background, that hesitation could cost lives. In combat, there is no time for second guessing. Every soldier must be absolutely certain that their team is united in purpose. That's why great leaders avoid bringing politics or personal ideologies into their units.
And words, part of that is words are important and setting the tone is important, correct? When you're a leader.
All aspects of leadership, mostly leading by example.
Did you ever tell them your political affiliation? Did you ever tell your platoon members your political affiliation?
We certainly discussed lots of topics, and I'm sure my political affiliation.
Did you ever ask them theirs?
No, their political affiliation was never a concern to me.
Because it's important that everybody feel included and that people weren't excluded, correct? That would be
my
antithetical to leadership.
I'm sure my platoon contained Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, and I had no idea what their affiliation was.
Okay, that was actually my next question, so I appreciate you answering that. You led your unit in a counterinsurgency environment, and you interacted with civilians, correct?
Interacted with members of the civilian population, sure.
Yeah. And you were, in fact, a COIN instructor, a counterinsurgency instructor, correct?
In Afghanistan in 2011 and 2012, I was the senior counterinsurgency instructor.
And you signed off on a manual. There's actually a counterinsurgency manual that you signed off on and helped create. And your name is on that manual, correct?
We were a part of creating a lot of content at the COIN Academy, yes.
Do you remember this portion of the manual? It says, if you've killed two innocents, you've set yourself back more than you've moved forward. Do you still agree with that?
I would have to take a look at the manual, but obviously no one in warfare is seeking to kill innocents.
Okay. Because it's important to show why we're different from the enemy. Because we're not the enemy. Right? We're different from our adversary. Would you agree with that? We have different morals and different values.
We are not the enemy, sir.
We have different morals and we have different values than the enemy.
We have a code, a uniform code of military justice.
So the answer to that is yes.
Our formations that
you're not trying to compare us to Al-Qaeda and ISIS, are you? We're different.
What makes the U.S. military fundamentally different from its adversaries is not just its equipment or training, but the values and principles that guide its actions. At the heart of this difference is a moral code that shapes every decision, from the way soldiers are trained to the way missions are executed. Unlike groups such as ISIS or Al-Qaeda, which thrive on chaos, brutality, and disregard for human life, the U.S. military operates within a strict framework of laws, ethics, and accountability. Soldiers are bound by the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which ensures that their actions uphold standards of honor, discipline, and responsibility. This code is not an optional guideline, it is a binding rule that reinforces the very identity of the American soldier. In combat, this distinction becomes even clearer. While terrorist groups use fear, cruelty, and indiscriminate violence as tools of war, the U.S. military is committed to minimizing civilian harm and protecting innocents wherever possible. Counterinsurgency strategies shaped by years of hard-earned lessons emphasize that harming non-combatants undermines the very mission being fought. Manuals written by experienced leaders have long highlighted the truth that killing innocents sets back progress and erodes trust within local populations. This focus on safeguarding civilian lives demonstrates a profound difference in values. For adversaries, civilians are often shields, targets, or tools of manipulation. For American forces, they are people to be respected and protected, even in the most difficult circumstances.
We're different.
I know the code of the United States military and army that I signed
You
up
can't
for.
tell me
I
whether we're
raised my
different?
right hand.
You're not willing to say we're
Of course,
different?
we're different.
Okay, thank you.
It's absurd.
That's why I'm trying to reconcile the fact that we learned many of the same lessons as platoon leaders about unit cohesion, making sure that people were included, that we didn't ask people's political affiliation, that we interacted respectfully with civilian populations, that what a leader says matters, that the tone you set matters, that we are not the enemy, that we are different from them, we lead differently, we have different morals. How can I reconcile that experience and those lessons learned from Lieutenant Hegseth to now Secretary Hegseth, where you say things like what you just saw here, making us equivalent on the same standards as our adversaries, doing the same things that ISIS and Al-Qaeda would do? How can you possibly reconcile that? I can't. And just the other day down at Fort Bragg in our beloved 82nd Airborne Division, sitting there while we politicize the military and pull our paratroopers into politics, booing elected officials, booing politicians with whom you disagree. It's antithetical to our values, and you, sir,
Gentlemen,
have changed.
time's expired. Chair now recognizes the gentleman.
Leadership in the military is not just about issuing orders. It is about setting a tone that resonates throughout the entire unit. Words spoken by a commander can either inspire confidence or create division, and this influence can mean the difference between success and failure in critical moments. Soldiers look to their leaders for guidance, not only in strategy, but also in moral clarity. When a leader speaks, their words carry authority far beyond the immediate situation. They establish the standards of conduct, the expectations of unity, and the spirit with which soldiers approach their mission. In combat, where the stakes are life and death, this kind of leadership becomes the anchor that keeps a unit grounded and focused. One of the most important aspects of leadership is leading by example. Soldiers are quick to recognize whether their leaders live by the same values they demand from their units. If a leader demonstrates courage, fairness, and respect, their soldiers will follow suit. Conversely, if a leader engages in divisive rhetoric or undermines the principles of unity, the effects ripple through the entire unit. This is why it is said that the tone from the top matters so profoundly. A careless statement from a leader can weaken trust, create resentment, and distract soldiers from their mission. In the military, where cohesion is everything, such damage can be devastating. Leaders also have the responsibility to shield their units from unnecessary distractions, especially political ones. When politics infiltrate the ranks, it shifts the focus away from the mission and onto divisions that have no place in combat. Soldiers are not on the battlefield to argue about ideologies. They are there to protect one another and accomplish objectives. A leader who allows politics to take root in their formation risks eroding the cohesion that keeps soldiers united under fire.